Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to today's study. It's Friday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's Good Friday.
Is it?
I think it is, sir.
Wow.
It's a Good Friday. Where's Fortuna G? It's Good Friday today, right, Bernadette? Yeah, she gives a thumbs up. She's our resident Hare Krishna Catholic. Yeah, here with the live Zoom crew. You know, there's about 13,000 people-ish that listen to this show every day on all the platforms where you can get podcasts. Then there's people that listen on YouTube. But there's about, we get between, 60 and 100 something every day on Zoom. And if you want to join us on Zoom, you can do that. You just email Miss Mara over here, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com, and she'll send you the secret, mysterious code to get into our little coven of transcendentalists in training.
Yeah, you know what, Raghunath? Our numbers have gone down on now we hover in the 60s when before we're hovering closer to 100.
You mean with the Zoom?
live people on Zoom? But I think that has a lot to do with we've become so erratic in timings.
Well, I've always been erratic, but our show has been erratic in timings. Yes.
So, but
it's getting more erratic, especially as my book comes out.
That's right. But therefore, it's important to get the calendar, right? Mara, can you speak to that?
How do people find out about? How does that work, Mara?
That way you don't wake up.
You thought you were going to knit? That's over.
It's not.
You've got work to do.
Well, there's a couple different ways. It's a little confusing. We have a calendar that people can subscribe to, and what's great about it is it shows the time in your local time zone.
Okay.
So that's convenient for people. And then also we now have a Wisdom of the Sages info channel on WhatsApp that people can subscribe to, where we put updates on the show times.
How do you get on that?
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Who made that? Oh, that's Nityananda Chandra's thing?
The calendars, Nityananda Chandra's.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Ishvara Sundari can put on the message board how people subscribe or find that channel.
Well, we got to tell people, or we got to put that in the...
I'll link it in the show notes as well.
In the show notes, you can find that. So that way, if you like to show up, but like sometimes you show up and we're not here or something like that, then you just get that and you're good to go. Let's get his numbers back up.
Guess what? I'm putting my link up to the for my book on the...
Okay.
No, but check this out.
Entirely unrelated, but okay.
Completely not related. I thought that subject was over, but it's #1 bestseller in punk musician biography.
Yes.
That's what it says on Amazon.
Who did you beat out for that? Henry Rollins?
I don't know, but it changes. It randomly changes, but
Yeah.
it made like 4 bestsellers so far. And I want to thank all the Zoom people.
That's great.
And people who have purchased it.
Awesome.
Good
news, Rogo.
Yeah,
hey,
so
you know what?
Yeah.
I get this every now and then. I get
double it.
What?
Don't shush me.
Well, because Stuba was talking.
Were you on the same subject or were you switching subjects?
I was on the same subject saying
Okay,
double it.
then continue.
That's all.
Please continue.
Double it.
Okay, that's all.
Double it. That's what I want to say.
All right. What was I just gonna say? I forgot.
Oh, it's something
What
invaluable.
were we just talking about just before that?
The WhatsApp group for calendar and gaining people or losing people in Zoom.
I don't know. I forgot.
Anyway, I want to share that. I really want to announce these two things I'm doing with John V. Harrison, which is on April 15th and 16th in San Francisco. That's on my website. I finally got all my stuff. Katie Wyckoff did my website for me. She put all the events up, which include a bunch of stuff at the farm. Go to my events page at raghunath.yogi. But yeah, I'm going to do Rich Roll next week, Kostuba. I'm really excited for that.
That's right.
It's I'm more excited for, I really think, the masses, not the masses, but there's people within the masses that are really ready for bhakti. Sometimes I feel like the Vaishnavacharyas, the great sages, are giving this like information how to like drink nectar, and people are just drinking salt water, and that's all they want is salty water.
Okay.
Or donkey urine, if you want to.
Oh,
make
now
it
you're getting
more gross. Now getting gross, but I've heard that analogy. And so I feel like the Ritual podcast, it's already reached so many people. The first time I went in, that's where we got people like Linda. Many people showed up from Ritual podcast, and the people they're ripe for
meaning. They're looking for meaning in life.
Yeah, and bhakti within their heart, but they just don't know about it. And that's part of our service, and everybody's service that listens to this is we also evolve by giving this away. We also take care of ourselves by extending ourselves and taking care of other people. That's why we always say, share this link. It's not like we just want to build a following so me and Kostuba become like the king and the queen. You'd be the queen. But just joking. But my point is, we're not doing this for us. We're doing this to serve Guru and Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, and the teachers. And I feel like it's really important for all of us to take a personal responsibility to give this to other people, especially who are in this world and are actually eager to find something. So I'm excited for that podcast.
All right.
And yeah.
Okay.
Wednesday. That's week. That's all I wanted to say. I'm excited about it.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah. All right.
A different Raghu shows up on these big podcasts. It's
a different Raghu. He's more collected and calm.
Yeah. I don't know why that guy doesn't show up here a little bit more.
Because you're too collected and calm.
Oh, I see.
Because you're so collected and calm, I have to. You're too much the straight man. You make me wild.
But isn't Rich Roll a straight man?
He's pretty straight, but he just goes talk.
Okay.
He allows for the squirrels.
I see. I was wondering who was it that sent you that squirrel? Was that Martine that sent you that? Who
sent me this squirrel.
I was thinking, Martine, you should have sent that squirrel to me. Yeah, so that when he's squirreling, I can hold up the squirrel.
Yeah, that's right. She should have, but she didn't.
Okay, I'm going to steal that squirrel next time.
Okay.
Oh, Martine said she'll get me one. Okay, thank you.
All right, what's up, Mara?
All right, some announcements. We have Back to Recovery group meetings today online at 12:30 and 1 Eastern time, and in person tonight at the Bhakti Center. And then
in person.
Cult of Cain. Josh Cain is offering his asana class for our Patreon members at 10:30 this morning. And the Sunday is Urban Devi via the Bhakti Center with Rukmini Podar.
Rukmini Podar.
Yeah, Cult of Cain. I'm going to see him at the Connecticut show with David Houseworth, and anybody else coming to Connecticut, right? If you're out here, put it on the board. I'd like to see who's coming. Anybody coming to any of the shows, write it on the board. I want to see, so I can be diverted while Kostuba is saying something important. Okay. Let's get into our today's nugget. We always do a nugget if you're new to this game. Something like substantial, that's someone who's not necessarily a Krishna Bhakti person, but says something that has to do with the things that we're talking about during the day.
Right.
And generally it's trying to show a thread, a commonality between deep thinkers or how truth is universal. So this nugget is from Ludwig Wittgenstein.
He needs like a von in between there, right? Like Ludwig von. Wouldn't that be better? That three-name thing.
Ludwig. No one in the United States has ever named their child Ludwig.
I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think it's
once.
ever happened because you know why? It reminds us of earwigs, which are the horrible little bugs that come out in the summer that crawl into your ear and make you
No,
insane.
I didn't even know
Okay,
about
so
this.
this is what Ludwig
Well, who is he?
said.
Oh, I can tell you
I
who he
don't
is. You
know
probably
who he
can't.
is.
He's an Austrian philosopher who worked primarily in logic, the philosophy of mathematics, the philosophy of the mind,
Okay.
and the philosophy of language. He had a broad philosophical repertoire.
I got a feeling like Ludwig in Austria, that was like the John or Dave of
Okay.
Connecticut.
I don't think it's Ludwig, though. I don't think they pronounce it that way. It's more like Ludwig.
Ludwig.
Yeah.
Ludwig. What?
She was born in Louisiana.
No one can hear you, Mara. You're not talking into
What's
the.
going on, Mary?
Hannah Brinkhouse has a brother named Ludwig, and she was born in Louisiana. I assume her brother was.
There you go.
In my high school, that means once a day, getting thrown against the lockers.
Hey, Ludwig.
Hey, Ludwig, boom. What was your high school like? Was your high school okay?
Of course it was like that.
Mine was brutal. Okay.
All right. What is Ludwig? Ludwig.
I remember when I started wearing
Not the same.
engineering boots to high school, like those circle jerks boots, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man, the kids used to beat me up. It was brutal. Okay. Ludwig, here's what he has to say. I don't know why we are here, but I'm pretty sure that it is not in order to enjoy ourselves. That sounds like a person ripe with life experience, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that. It does. I agree with you. I looked up this quote. It was actually a listener sent this in as a suggested nugget, and I appreciate that. And then I looked it up, and I found it was kind of like some philosophical chat board was discussing it and saying like, "What do you think it means?" You know,
Right.
and you had like a lot of people. It was going back and forth, but like some people were saying like, "Oh, the old sourpuss."
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
why's it got to be such a buzzkill or something like that? You know, what's the matter with this guy? You know, but then other people, I think, catching on to the real spirit of it, which was saying that there's something more to life than just seeking pleasures. You know, seeking external enjoyments. That there's a mission here. There's a purpose to all this. There's something deeper behind it. We should search for that. We should go for that. And that's, you know, that's well, you know, even like in these sutras, the various sutras, whether it's the Brahma Sutras, you know, Vedanta Sutra, or whether it's the Yoga Sutras, I think it's common that these different philosophical schools, they take their teachings and they kind of compress them into these sutras, right?
Yeah.
You take this broad school of philosophy and you condense it into these maybe 200 or so of these aphorisms, and then you memorize those aphorisms. Now you got the whole philosophy laid out for you.
Right. Then you can expand on them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's common that they begin with like the word atta, or you know, like atta yoga anushasanam, or athāto brahma-jijñāsā. Now is the time.
Like get serious. Now like now.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Now, well, you know, I found I actually did a little study on that this morning.
This morning.
Yeah, just seeing like how the different commentators treat that word, what they make of it, and you get different explanations. Like sometimes it's like now, in the most simple way, like now what we were about to read is about yoga, or now what you're about to read is about now we're going to go into this topic. And others take it a little bit further, and they say that this indicates like now that we've studied all these other subjects.
Okay.
Now we're kind of graduating to the most important subject, you know. But and there are other explanations. But when Prabhupada spoke of this, he commonly spoke of it. Well, I'll read you something. Let's see if I got it here. He would speak of it as like, oh, here we go. Prabhupada writes, or maybe he said this in a lecture, the first statement of Vedanta Sutra is athāto brahma-jijñāsā. Now, having obtained the human birth, one should inquire into Brahman, the absolute truth. Right. So this is the way Prabhupada commonly spoke of it, that the meaning that he derived from it, right, is that this human birth is a rare thing. If you look at all the different species of life, there's, according to these ancient texts, there's 8,400,000 of them, right? And in the human form, you get that potential to figure the whole thing out, right? To try to understand, why do I go through these cycles, these ups and downs of happiness and distress, of pleasure and pain, and I'm kind of, when I really think about it, I can't escape that. I really can work hard on it, and I never seem to break the cycle. And if we look at society, you know, we're diligently working hard to make this world a more pleasurable place. We're trying to deal with the problems that exist here, and texts, these kind of texts, kind of laid out here, like Prabhupada would come and say, here's the 4 problems, right? Birth, death, disease, old age. These are the things that cause us pain, that cause us
focus
suffering.
on the good. Why don't you?
Well, why don't you focus on the problem so that you can actually experience the good, right?
Sure.
And the fact is, it's like, a lot of the times we think, oh, we've become so advanced. You know, look at what we've got now. You know, oh, look at the advancements we've made in medicine. You know, but yeah, we've made advancements in medicine, but we still are suffering from all kinds of diseases. We find a cure for one, and then another one arises. You know, and to this day, it is very common for us to suffer great due to our own disease, or due to the disease and the death that comes from that, from people that are very near and dear to us. We haven't solved that problem. You know, we try in so many different ways to adjust the externals to try to create a pleasurable situation. What I take from Ludwig's statement, and I appreciate that he's just saying, I don't know why we're here. You know, he's vulnerable in that sense. But he's pretty sure, when he looks around and he thinks about it, it's not in order to enjoy ourselves. We're meant to learn something. We're meant to learn, and when I say learn, I don't mean even just academically learn, but learn in the sense that we become transformed by it, right? Like, I learned this lesson in life. It changed me. What are we meant to learn? What are we meant to focus on? What are we meant to understand? What is there a way to overcome the problems that we encounter in this world, and why did I get here, and what's the purpose for it? You know, that I appreciate in Ludwig's thing here.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the tapasvi yogis who do
people that
difficult, they perform austerities. They, you know, they sit in the freezing cold water in the rivers, or they surround themselves by fire in the summer. They do extreme things to their body, which are not being, quote, the enjoyer, right? It's not to enjoy. It's actually, and it's not really to suffer either. It's to detach yourself from a body to find some type of subtle pleasure.
Yeah.
And there's a subtle pleasure we're looking for, a spiritual pleasure we're looking for. It's funny because Sammy from Youth of Today, who is, you know, he's been around devotees.
Your drummer?
Now. Yeah, our drummer. He's been around devotees for, you know, 35 years, and he knows the devotee talk and stuff like that. So whenever he calls me up, he's like, Haribol Prabhu, what are you doing? You trying sitting over there in upstate New York trying to be the enjoyer? Like, he'll always call me trying to be the enjoyer.
Right.
Because he knows that's like an integral part of our philosophy, is like, we want to be the center, and there is only one enjoyer, and that's the idea of Krishna. So you'll hear these yogic statements that the material world is miserable, and it really sounds negative. It really sounds, you guys are pessimists. You're seeing the cup half empty. But the idea is that the material world is not enjoyable. You just have to analyze it. And a lot of us are intoxicated by good karma. We're intoxicated by some good karma and think, what are you talking about? Material world's great. And you just have to analyze the whole world, the whole picture, walking through into hospitals and to, become an EMT or hang out with surgeons. And you realize there's a lot of suffering going on right here. That's one way to look at it. But another way to look at it is actually, we're not the enjoyer of the material world, but our birthright is enjoyment. We are allowed to enjoy the world, but our enjoyment comes from like a different path, and it comes through seeing ourselves as part of the whole. And it is actually our birthright to be very joyful and blissful. So I like to take that turn on it, because it can get real sort of macabre. Is that the word? Or like, it's like dark and depressing. And just, we're not the enjoyer. We're not the enjoyer. It's like, all right, my material life is already painful enough. Stop reminding me. But we actually, it is our duty to enjoy, but it's a refined type of enjoyment. And if you see people acting like pure devotees, and we see them, we have people in our life that are like great devotees, they're actually they have so much enjoyment in their heart, because their enjoyment comes from serving and loving and giving love. And so actually, we're the best enjoyers. How about that? We are the biggest enjoyers.
But we haven't connected with that potential. Therefore, we're meant to learn something, right? Yeah. Like Prabhupada this is from a lecture that he gave, and he's describing, he says he's describing the life of animals. He said, question and answer. Everywhere life means questions and answers. So those who are not interested or do not know what is the aim of life, they've got questions and answers only for sense gratification. They're just trying to find pleasures, right? That's all. They have no more any questions or answers. Whole field of questioning and answering is sense gratification. That's all, right? That's my scope. That's how I use my cognitive faculty. That's what I engage myself in. But the human life is not meant for that purpose. The animals, they are morning, just like birds. Just early in the morning, they begin to chirp. Where is food? Where is it? Where do we have to go? Where do I have to go to find some food? That is their business. The animal also. But human form of life, does it mean it is like that they should be simply involved in questions and answers for sense gratification? No. Therefore, Vedanta Sutra says, brahma-jijñāsā, athāto brahma-jijñāsā, atta. After this, after the evolutionary process of lower than human being, we have come. We've got this body, human form of body. The business is brahma-jijñāsā. And then he quotes Bhagavatam, jivasya tattva jijñāsā. That is Bhagavat. So that's from the first canto, second chapter. Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry into the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works, right? Like, let's get focused. Let's reach our potential, But this is what I love, where Prabhupada goes like this. He says, but there is no education. There are so many universities. They're going on simply how to advance the method of sense gratification. That's all. There is no education. Athāto brahma-jijñāsā. The human form of life should be specially engaged for understanding what is Brahman. Otherwise, it is simply spoiled. Like that. So he's saying, why not engage in these kind of inquiries? Why not really try to understand who we are? Am I this body? Is that it? Is the goal of life to satisfy it, to maintain it, to preserve it, to try to find pleasure to it? Or is there something far more valuable that's just waiting for us?
Intoxicated by good karma.
Okay.
Hope you wrote that down. That was like the most profound thing I said this morning.
Well, you still got more show to go. And
More
now
profound things for me to say?
Now Prahlad is speaking to his schoolmates, and he's more or less conveying this message, right? Let's not forget the purpose of this. Let's get focused. Really nice instructions coming.
Okay, here's our prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we recite the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is ever a means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati yadtumashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, Text 21. Yes, that's all.
Text 21.
Text 21. I should have said text 21.
Okay, so yeah, he's just getting into that basic. Prahlad is speaking to the other kids, and he's really coming on that. Let's understand whether they're not the body kind of level.
This was a play date. Play date with the kids in school. They were like, okay, I thought we were going to play. Nope, we're going to hear philosophy. Listen.
And they're like, okay.
All right. I know. They're like, all right, Prahlad, whatever you want. All right. An expert geologist, he's talking to a bunch of 5-year-olds. An expert geologist can understand where there is gold. What's a geologist? Just quiet down and listen. And by various processes can extract it from the gold ore. It's a whole science.
This kind of stuff fascinates you, right? Raghunath?
Really fascinating. I think you just heat it.
No,
Similarly,
they use chemicals and stuff.
Well, no, they were previously.
Well, no. I'm fucking not the expert.
Similarly, a spiritually advanced person can understand how the spiritual particles exist within the body, and thus, by cultivating spiritual knowledge, he can attain perfection in spiritual life.
Okay, there's the first analogy, right? Just like there's gold within ore, right? So there's something special within that larger rock, right? Something special, more valuable. So within the body, there's a particle that's of a very different quality, and that's the self, the soul.
Good analogy, huh?
Yeah.
However, as one who is not expert cannot understand where the gold is, a foolish person who has not cultivated spiritual knowledge cannot understand how the spirit exists within the body.
Okay. This is what we should be inquiring into.
This is what we're
Athāto
cultivating.
brahma-jijñāsā, right? I am Brahman. What is Brahman? What is spirit? What's beyond all this? Okay.
Okay, the Lord's 8 separated material energies. Mara, what are they? Mara, microphone, Mara.
Hot seat.
Amir.
I don't know.
We finally got her.
Finally got Mara.
It's been a long time.
Earth,
since
water,
we stumbled.
earth, water.
Fire, air, ether, mana, spooty, and ahankara.
Ooh.
Okay. Now she switched it up. Okay, you make up for what you didn't get
By
with
doing
the
it in
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, yeah.
Bhumir apalana voyu kangmanhur budir evacha ahankara iti yangme bina prakritir ashada. What is that? Bhagavad Gita 4.
7-4.
7-4.
Seven chapter.
Yeah.
7-5.
I think 4, even 3, maybe, right?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Maybe 4. Okay, so that's so this is what the Sankhya philosophy, where they break down the world that we're living in into a list of ingredients.
Yeah. What we are not. It's really interesting. The Lord's 8 separated material energies, the 3 modes of material nature, and the 16 transformations, the 11 senses, and the 5 gross material elements like earth and water. Within all of these, the one spirit soul exists as the observer. Therefore, all the great acharyas have concluded that the individual soul is conditioned by these material elements. This was the conversation I was having with my son yesterday, my 10-year-old, on the way to school.
Tarun?
Yeah. We're talking about the observer. The soul is the observer.
What did he say?
He just had a bunch of good spiritual questions.
Like, such as?
Let's see, where did it start? We started talking. He likes to sharpen his skills on debating about vegetarianism.
Oh, okay.
And how, and I'll give different arguments like,
God
I
made
like
it
to eat.
different.
I like to eat meat. What's the big deal? I like it. And
Mhm.
he's like, well, you can't just do everything you like. For
Oh,
example,
okay.
I might like to do something that's harmful, but I can't do it. I can't steal, even though,
See, this is what 10-year-olds should be doing. Right there,
Sharp-
Raghunath. You're making it happen.
sharpening their
Yeah,
debating
thinking
skills.
about that's brahma-jijñāsā. He's it's all related to understand why is it wrong because there's a soul within there.
Yeah,
It feels. It has, it experiences.
Well, because anyway, I'm not going to get into personal stuff, but because there's different influences of life, influences in his life. He doesn't go to an all boys gurukul. He goes to public school. Different influences in his life have different values. If you had a container where you see these are the values and you just make it part of their life, that's one way to raise a kid. But when your kids are just sort of out there in the world, they have to deeply understand why I'm not doing this. And I think that's important to teach the children. And, I will say that's one thing about joiners. Have you ever heard that? That's the word I learned in Alachua. You and I are joiners. Like we joined Krishna consciousness.
Oh, rather than being born into it?
Yeah, because a lot of the people in Alachua, they're born into it. They're
Right.
born into it. They're second generation devotees, third generation devotees. You and I are joiners. And for the joiners, like most people on this podcast, you have to really understand this stuff because you're attached to the.
That's how you got there. Because
that's how we got there. You have to really deeply understand it. And
but
you
if
have
you're
to be able
born
to
into
explain it to someone else. If you're born into it, you're like, yeah, well, you don't eat garlic. Why don't you eat garlic? I don't know. It's just my mom never made garlic.
You're not supposed to.
Never made me garlic bread. So we have to we want to understand that. That's the benefit of being a joiner, being in a dented can. Okay,
Right.
joiner. Isn't that a great one?
So I know that you never like to talk about this Sankhya stuff, the whole list of the thing.
I love it. I love it. Double it.
So we won't get into it, but basically it's just a very interesting way of breaking down the elements of the world that we're in, the equipment that we use to experience it, and so on. It gives a list. Yeah. And then it says, and then one analyzes, and I think that's what the next verse will get into. I'm not any of these things. I'm observing them, as you say, right? Sure. I'm observing them. So then I must not be made of the material elements. I must be made of something else.
I like to use the analogy of the waterfall. If you were to take a photo of me trying to catch the water running through my hands of a waterfall, it appears, in one sense, like in that frozen still that I have the water. But if it's in real life or a video, you understand that water is always flowing through my hands. And this is what I was explaining to my son, that our body is like a very slow moving waterfall. It's always changing and we're observing. We can never catch our body. And I said, for example, I didn't see you in 3 months. And I saw you and I said, you've grown so much.
But if you would have seen him every day, you wouldn't have noticed.
You wouldn't. I said, you didn't notice that you grew, but I noticed not having seen you. So our body's like that. And we're just observing it. And then this really good analogy that I got I still use, I got 30 years ago from Stamba Das is this my hand? Is this my 5-year-old hand? No, this is a completely different hand, right down to the molecule. Nothing here is the same. So it appears like it's my same hand, but it's actually not. Everything has been replaced. And we are just the observer. We were trying to catch the waterfall, hold the waterfall, but I say a good way to understand it is you clip the hair from your head or your beard, and that's gone now. And that new hair grows. So we're just observing all this matter in flux. It is not us.
But we don't change. That's the thing. The observer doesn't age. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The same awareness that was in your 10-year-old body It's still here because you remember it. It's the same awareness, but now you're in a 58-year-old body, and that
Sometimes we
10-year-old
lose our
body's
memory.
gone.
Sometimes we do lose our memory, but it's still there. That the witness is still there, because even the memory is temporary.
But the memory kind of helps prove it, right? Because
Yeah. I
otherwise-
remember my 5-year-old body.
Yeah.
I remember I like this one. I remember my 5-year-old subtle body, right? I remember my 17-year-old ego, my 5-year-old intelligence, right? My 20-year-old mind. I remember all those things too. And I witnessed them also.
they're shifting and changing.
They're shapeshifters. My body's a shapeshifter.
My mind is a shapeshifter.
Mara's ego is a shapeshifter.
Oh, he's picking on Mara again. It's creeping up. You bring
like
that back down.
The good old days.
bring
I don't
that
pick
back
on her
down.
anymore on the show. In the old days, I used to really pick on you.
No, but I see it coming up right now, and I'm nipping it in the bud.
No, I'm very, very kind to Mara. Mara, you tell the universe.
He's very kind to
Just-
me.
Just blink, Mara. Yeah, she's blinking.
Okay. There are two kinds of bodies for every individual soul. A gross body made up of the 5 gross elements, and they
I think we could say
and they are gross, by the way.
a material or tangible might,
You can grip it. How about that? And a
And touch it.
subtle body made up of the 3 subtle elements, is what Mara said earlier. Within these bodies, however, is the spirit soul, the observer. One must find the soul by analysis, saying, this is not it. This is not it. Thus, one must separate spirit from matter. That's what I do when I take my
Wait.
cold plunges. When I
Yeah.
took my 3-minute cold shower today, I just said, I'm not the body. I'm just the observer. I'm not a body. I'm just an observer. I'm noticing sensation happening.
My body is very, very uncomfortable right now.
No, I don't say that.
Okay.
That gives meaning to the sensation. I
Don't
just
give
say I'm
meaning to it.
noticing sensation on my body, but I'm not
Very
saying
cold.
I'm noticing a good or bad sensation, a hot or a cold sensation. I'm just saying there is a sensation. I'll notice that. Once I give it meaning, then I'm in the body again. So I'm trying to. So this is Raghunath Sankhya Yoga. I'm just
Mm.
analyzing the matter, but not putting myself within it.
Okay. Linda, when you do your cold plunge, you think like
Linda
this.
is doing 5 minutes. Cindy Lunsford, 5 minutes. They're not thinking twice.
All right. Now, Mara, we're going to put you back on the hot seat.
Uh-oh.
So this, where it says here, one must find the soul by analysis, saying this is not it. This is not it. What is the Sanskrit for that?
Can I get a hint?
Sounds like, well,
Sounds like
What-
Joe
look-
Davola in that opera. Do you love me, Netta? Right? It's Nettie
I don't
Nettie,
remember
right?
that.
Is it Nettie
Nettie.
Nettie?
Yeah, well, now you're giving it away, right? Nati,
I know, but
did
it
you
was-
know
I didn't
that?
know.
Nati,
It was-
Nati.
18.
Not this, not
You
that.
remember, remember when
Yeah.
Joe Davola was going to Elaine? Hey, Netta, why have you betrayed me, Netta?
No. I was saying
Netta,
like
I'm not
Neti
Netta.
Pot,
Yeah,
But,
yeah, okay. The Nettie pot.
But so this is a very common aspect of Jnana Yoga, right?
They'll say this, Nettie, Nettie.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not the ingredients that make up this body. Or like Prabhupada would say it, like, and when he would explain bhakti to children, he'd say, am I this hand? No, because I say it's my hand, right? Am I this leg? No, because it's my leg. Am I this body? No, it's my body. And, even am I this mind? No, it's my mind. Then who is the I that's observing it all? That's, in a nutshell, that's what that Nati
This
is
is
all
going to
about.
be common knowledge in the same way you can go to a restaurant and say, what are your vegan options? This is going to be common knowledge for kids, I predict.
All right, you got to make it happen, though, Raghunath.
We're doing it. What else
Okay.
can I do, man? I'm
Go
traveling
on your
all-
book tour. Spread
I'm going
spread
on
it
a
all.
book tour. I'm exhausting myself. Doing like 3 interviews a day, playing a hardcore show. A 58-year-old man playing a hardcore show at night. Come on.
All right. Now, Text 24's got a great commentary on it too. Let's get into this.
All these guys, Jeff Eisenberg, David Charles Wilson, Timothy Tucker, they better not clothesline me either. They better not just grab me by the neck and throw me in. Yeah.
When you're
None of that
running around on
None
stage.
of that nonsense, please. Okay, there are two kinds of bodies. Okay, 24. Sober and
Sober.
expert persons.
Yeah.
Like that.
Sober
What does
here,
that mean?
not meaning not drunk necessarily, but like
It means thoughtful. Thoughtful.
yeah, not intoxicated, not like drunk on the world, right? Not like, oh,
Drunk
this is
on the
exciting.
world.
Drunk
Don't be
on the
drunk on
world.
the world.
Yeah.
Be
Get that one
sober.
there. Yeah. Yeah,
Vera.
sober.
Sober and expert. I like that word. Do people say that, or is that just a Prabhupada thing? An expert person, expert.
Expert, the word did exist before Joe Prabhupada.
No, I know, but we would say he's an expert at,
Yeah.
plumbing. We
But-
wouldn't
but-
say expert persons. That seems like it's a Prabhupada thing. I never said
Uh,
it. Sober and expert persons.
But you know what about that sober? Let's go back to Ludwig and his statement. Like he said, I don't know what we're here for, but I'm pretty sure that it's not to enjoy ourselves. And then you get a bunch of non-sober people that are drunk on the world saying, "Why has it got to be such a buzzkill?" What it's just like you're drunk on the world, and you can't see that this guy's making an intelligent statement. Like at the very least, can't you see that he's not being a buzzkill? That he's just trying to understand if there's something more to it, if there's something deeper to it. It wasn't that he was a grumpy old sourpuss.
Sure.
It was that he was trying to look through it and see what more is there. So yeah, don't be drunk on the world. The world's got you drunk.
Because it's the romance of Maya. For example, imagine Raghunath and Kaustubha drunk. Like, how do you feel when you're drunk? You feel horrible. You feel dirty. You feel,
You've never been drunk, right? In your entire life.
I have been, but not that many.
No,
times.
I think people, they let go of their inhibitions. That's why they kind of,
Yeah,
and
they're-
they forget
they're
about their issues
sloppy
a
and
bit.
do stupid things,
They
and they
do,
end up falling asleep on their face, sometimes urinating in their pants. I think.
yeah, you think you look cool, and the rest of the world is looking at you
you're
like
doing
you
some
look
stupid
terrible.
things. You're putting other people in danger. You're driving home drunk. So is it actually joyful, or have you painted a haze around the material world? I love you. I love you. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what the material world is. If we put a glaze on it and we try to live in the romance of Maya. So when you become a little sober, you become a little thoughtful and not negative, but you just see the world as it is. That's enough to make a person depressed. And that's why without the bhakti element of it, the whole thing can actually get very depressing, because
Gotcha.
this is what existentialism is. They actually have stripped away the romance from the material world. Like, what are we doing? Just trying to create hobbies. Okay, now I'm going to bungee jump. Now I'm going to whatever. Think of thousands of things to do to take up my time and give it some type of adventure. And it's just sort of just chewing the chewed. And then I'm going to raise a family, fall in love and go through that, and perhaps be betrayed. Perhaps one of my kids might die. No, I'm not going to do. The material world is suffering. So what's the joy then? The joy is not of this material world. It's deeply connecting with our spiritual self.
Yeah.
Sobriety.
Speaking about being drunk on the world and all that you're saying, I mean, I don't want to get too into this, but it's like, because in one sense it's gossip but like in the news lately, there's like a big story is how this famous music producer, right? Like his homes are being raided by the FBI because he's been accused of
accused. We don't know.
By many people.
Accused by many people.
Yeah. Of sexual assault, having these crazy parties, and now like it seems like a lot of people are saying like all this stuff is going to come out about like how a lot of these celebrities live, people that they like. If you look at someone like that music producer, he had certain talents and certain vision and certain insights and certain abilities of how to market things and
Yeah.
But he saw the goal of this as we are here to enjoy, right? The opposite of what, Ludwig was saying. Ludwig was saying, I'm thinking about life and I don't think the purpose here is to enjoy it. He was saying it's here to enjoy. And therefore he was just into fame, fashion, money, jewelry, and then ultimately sex. And it just, and you get drunk on the world like that.
Yeah.
And when you reach the peak of it, like I've got more money, more fame, more.
It gets darker and
it gets darker.
Greed gets
It's a dark
exasperated.
path.
Lust gets exacerbated. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of people are lusty, but they can't fulfill their lust. So they just sort of like live in their head, or they go to pornography or something like that. But if you have the facility for lust,
And you don't have this moral compass.
and there is no more, or just your fame and your power can get it. It just can spin
Overwhelming.
out of control. It can spin to very dark places. I'm not going to even say that, of course, condemning all that stuff, but I don't necessarily think these people are necessarily all bad. It's just
They lost control.
It's lost control. It's like an unqualified person trying to be an electrician. And you have to become very, very qualified. That's what we're in training to. We are in training to be qualified electricians. How to deal with these energies of this world.
Oh, okay.
Without
I like the way you connected it right there.
Fry us. How to deal with energies of this world without letting them fry us.
That's nice.
I've seen it again and again. I've seen it happen with gurus. They're nice devotees, really nice devotees.
Couldn't handle the
have
energy.
this position of guru, and people are bowing down, worshiping them as God, and they just can't handle it. They can't handle that energy.
Yeah.
It's really nothing personal. It's like it's very, very difficult to handle. I mean, I don't have to worry about the beauty thing, but some people are so beautiful, they can do whatever they want. They can get away with stuff, and they can use that beauty as a currency to manipulate other people. And it gets overwhelming. They become narcissistic, and they don't even see it's happening to them. It's insidious. They do people with wealth. It's the same thing. They get hanger-ons, people that want them for their money, and they start to purchase people. And they start treating people like things or objects. And it becomes hard. So if you do have
that's really important what you just said, Raghunath. That's really important. That's
depersonalize people and treat them like things.
Yeah. Again, if we go back to Ludwig, he's saying if our conviction is that we're here to enjoy ourselves, then it leads us wanting to enjoy other people, and that objectifying people, like the it's all revolving around me. This person's existence I see in terms of my enjoyment.
Sure.
That right there, that the potential for danger is so high right there.
Sure.
But it's so hard for people not to see that way. And what to speak of when you get really drunk on the world.
Sure. And what to speak of if you're hanging out with a collective of other drunkards who are like, yeah, we can have everything. You know, you got these Epstein Island things where you're hanging with a bunch of super wealthy people who all do this same type of intense enjoyment, so-called enjoyment, material
you begin
enjoyment.
To think you are the center.
Yeah, and the people, this is like the problem with prostitution. They say things like, well, I'm just helping this girl out. Give me a break. You're so intoxicated in this addiction. It just is going to get darker and darker. And what's really happening is you are dehumanizing a being.
That's right.
And when light gets shined on that, all the cockroaches run.
Whoa, okay. I think, I wanted to spend this has been an important conversation, Raghunath. Thank you. You got a lot of good insights on this. I like the way you tied that.
Why did they go after him and not the list on Epstein's Island? That's my curious. Why did they go after him?
Raghunath, what do you want to get into all the conspiracy theories? The conspiracy theories
it's very interesting, huh? I'm getting into just a theory.
Didn't he die in jail?
Give me the list.
Didn't they
give me the list of the island, then go after this guy?
Well, they cut him off by knocking him off in jail. That's what people would say, right? Like they cut off the trail.
I know, but
and they're saying that this is something else like that too.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Dark stuff. Let's brighten this up.
Dark stuff. Yeah. The sun will come out tomorrow.
But I wanted to spend some time with this commentary, so let's hold it for tomorrow.
Oh wow, it's 7:57.
So I'm telling you,
life goes fast when you talk about Epstein Island.
Don't make that one of the takeaways, Mayor, please.
Time goes fast on Epstein Island. You know what I would do on an island?
Oh no, I don't want to
just lay on the beach and eat fruit. That's all. That's all you need to do.
No, that's not. There's more that you need to do, but you don't have to get drunk on the world.
Yeah, you chant chapters of the Bhagavad Gita.
There you go.
There you go.
Ready for some takeaways that don't involve Epstein's Island?
Yes, please.
It's not Gilligan's Island, that's for sure. Gilligan's Island could have been.
We're all gonna have to. Mara, could you turn off his microphone at this point, please?
Mr. Howell. He was like Epstein himself. No one even knows that reference. Isn't that sad?
We don't need to either. Mara.
Like you and me and Greg DeGase who just
Now is the time for inquiry.
Thank
Into
you.
Epstein-
Oh, that
into
was refreshing.
into Epstein Island.
No, that's why.
Let's put that in Epstein Island at the end of
You know,
all
there's
of these.
people like Karuna listening to the show who probably
Yes,
don't know who
yes,
Epstein is. And
stop.
Nitai Lieberman.
Okay.
Stop.
know?
You're getting drunk on the world right now, Regan. You just
Okay,
sober up
Go
right
ahead.
now.
All right.
Yes,
Go
okay.
ahead.
What are we meant to learn and be transformed by?
In Epstein Island. Epstein
Don't become intoxicated by your good karma.
Like
Island.
Epstein. Regan, that's when you think Epstein, just think of Welcome Back, Kotter. Just keep it
Yes,
right
I
there.
gotta think of
okay?
Epstein from Welcome Back.
All
Wonder where
right.
he's at nowadays.
Our enjoyment comes from service to the divine.
Imagine if you ended up on Epstein Island and Epstein was there. Like he got
Juan-
corrupted.
Juan Epstein from Welcome Back.
Juan
Kotter.
Epstein got corrupted. But just because his name was Epstein, they brought him there to the island and then he got drunk on the world. That would be terrible.
No, he
Okay,
wouldn't do
man.
that.
Our body is like a slow moving waterfall, always changing.
Why waterfall? I mean, it could have been.
Well, it's like a
anything.
river. One of the Greek philosophers said a river, but a waterfall too.
Okay.
Running through your hands. Can't
Alright.
catch it.
Yeah, catch it. It keeps moving. Gotcha.
I thought the
Okay.
waterfall was a little bit more
Dynamic,
Dynamic?
faster moving.
faster moving, dynamic. Yes.
Yeah.
My body and mind are shapeshifters.
Both of them.
Yeah. Don't go chasing waterfalls like that, Danielle.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Cold plunge is just feeling sensation.
Noticing sensation.
Noticing.
Don't feel the sensation. Notice
Watch
the
it.
sensation. Watch. Observe.
Don't give
the
meaning to
sensation.
it.
Don't give meaning to the sensation.
Don't be drunk on the world.
Don't get
Don't be
drunk on the
drunk.
world. Stay
Don't
sober.
be drunk on Epstein Island.
Real sobriety is connecting with the spiritual self.
Oh. Nancy Rothman just gave us the bad news. Did you see that?
Come on.
Unfortunately,
passed
Juan
away?
Epstein, Robert Higgs, passed away in 2012.
Okay.
Now, what am I supposed to do with that?
He's the one, Greg DeGase, who is it? Who mentioned? Rich Dub. He's the one that when he came in with the note from his mother that he missed school the previous day, it was
Yeah.
signed Epstein's mother.
Oh, yeah. It's like this. If you ever were to watch that rerun, you'd be like, this is the dumbest show ever.
All
All right. And,
And
we are all in training to become qualified electricians.
Oh, yes. Thank
Got to
you.
handle the energy. Raghunath, you got to learn to just handle that energy, okay?
On Epstein Island.
No.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And get my book, Punk to Monk. It's available. Go to Amazon.com. Get one for a friend. Just say, hey, this is this podcast guy I listen to. I think you'd like it. You like music, right? All of your friends like music, probably. And just say, here, Mom, I think you'd like this. I know. You just say you know me, even if you don't. Say, hey, there's my friend, Raghu. I think you'll like it.
And Ananda Chandra is going to buy one for his mom right now.
Double it. Buy her two.
Buy her two. I just hate to think of the idea of what was the Epstein's name who had the island?
Jeffrey.
Imagine if Jeffrey Epstein just for kicks brought Juan Epstein to the island. He was just like,
Yeah, I
A
have
good
so
guy.
much money I can bring Juan Epstein here.
yeah, and then he got corrupted when he got there.
We should make a devotee island where everybody comes. You want to be on that list. You get enlightened when you come to the island. It's like Fantasy Island. That was a good TV show.
No, that was even dumber than
Are you
Welcome
kidding?
Back,
A
Kotter.
little tiny person welcoming you with a lisp.
What were there good lessons in that?
I think there
Fantasy
was.
Island?
I think there was.
It was kind of like it was probably one of those things where like Be careful what you ask for. Was it like that?
Yes, yes. Be careful. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get. I've been thinking a lot about this for 2 years, and I've been holding off. I'm thinking about getting YouTube
The box
Premium,
set?
YouTube Premium, so I can download lectures. Because I live upstate, and you can't listen to like a YouTube lectures when you're driving around. So I'm thinking about getting that. Download lectures, but they also have. You can get all these old TV shows like Fantasy Island, I think.
Oh, no. You see, Mary, see what just happened right there?
Maya,
see what just
Maya
happened?
stuck her foot in the
He
door.
cracked open the door for Maya.
He's drunk
and
on the
then
world.
invited her in.
You're drunk on the world. right now.
I'll refer to Linda. Whatever she tells me to do, I'll do.